Hey everybody, just coming back at you here real quick going to show you some stuff that's been going on today. I went back and I counted in one day, guys, we've had 10 significant eruptions, okay? Plus, we've got those 2X flares earlier, the radiation storm happening. It hasn't quite reached storm level, but it's getting close. We're getting bombarded with protons. And yeah, we've got quite a bit to talk about. So I think we're going to go ahead and just pop on into it. And I could get a 5 for 5 in there from somebody if they want to throw it over to me. But here we go. Okay, guys. So yeah, we've got quite a bit of stuff going on. Thanks for the 5 for 5 in there. Hey, Enigma, good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, 2Tim. All right. Now, I'm just going to kind of jump into it, guys. We're going to do this, right at the beginning here. Hey, Aaron, thank you. Good to see you. I just want to say thanks to the gifted memberships from earlier and the super chats from the one earlier today, and everybody else who's been gifted memberships and joining up as the memberships. I did get permission, guys, to show some videos on a members only stream, so we'll be doing that tomorrow. I got some but some court proceeding stuff that I can show you guys. It's really, really interesting. There's a whole genre of that stuff on YouTube now. But back to the lecture at hand, right? Ain't that what the rap song said? Anyway, hey IG. So listen, 10 eruptions in one day. I just and they're not just like little itty bitty, I guess sun farts, if you want to go down that road with those kinds of words. But yeah, but please like and share this also, guys. When you first get in here, please hit that like button. It really does make a difference, and sharing it out makes a huge difference. And come back and leave me a comment. After the video's already been published and everything, it really does make a big difference in and how the algorithm sees it. So, what we're going to do here, guys, I'm going to show you guys these 10 eruptions. But first thing I got to do is show you what satellite we're going to be looking from. Okay, right here, this is called SOHO. All right, it's 1,000,000 miles closer to the sun than what we are. Okay, but it stays right out in front of us, always looking at the sun. So with that being said, it's from our perspective. Plus, it gives us roughly about an hour lead time or warning, I guess, if you want to use that word, before things get here. It's going to hit this satellite. If it's coming at Earth, it's going to hit this satellite first. Okay? So what that does is it allows us to have some sort of an advance warning going on with that. Is it going to make that big of a difference? The only thing that's going to make a difference in the bigger events is the fact that you might be able to shut some of your stuff off if you're looking at this like right when it happens. And if we're living our lives, most likely that time frame is going to be gone. We're not going to have that hour because there's lag time anyway from the time things hit this satellite till the time we get to see them. So, for us, the general public, we're not getting that hour warning, okay? That's my point. Now, so let's go back into SOHO here. And what you're looking at, this is a coronagraph. On the right side is just a regular coronagraph imaging. On the left is called a difference image, okay? Gives us really good contrast in colors, and it lets us kind of map out the size of a CME, a coronal mass ejection. Or the correct word would be interplanetary coronal mass ejection. And what that means is that ejection left the sun. Interplanetary means it's going out into the planets. The 2003 Halloween storm was an interplanetary coronal mass ejection, and it was so powerful it actually hit Voyager at the edge of our solar system. Okay? So the sun can do some pretty amazing things, and that was one of them. You know, and of course that is one of those exceptional events that happened, but we just happen to have Voyager in that line of sight. Now also remember, when these things get ejected out, they're fanning out, right? So people ask me, well, you know, we kind of see these things fanning out. How come it doesn't always hit Earth unless it's going off the backside? Well, because we're not quite far enough away from the sun for us to really get a greater than 180 degree span. Now, it does happen from time to time, okay? But the further out you go, the further out that the CME will spread, okay? Now, X-rays are flares, okay? The flares are measured by X-ray, right? And that's how we know it was an X-flare. Those go out equally in all directions, and they're here in 8 minutes. It's traveling at the speed of light. Okay? So that's how we measure our flares that way. Now, that did cause some radio blackouts today. 2 of them. And we actually had a lower level radio blackout here. Okay? So, yeah. Now, you can see the proton increase here, too. Now, it has leveled off. There's a chance we might not get to S1. There's a fairly decent chance, actually, we might not get to S1 unless we have another eruption. See, when these protons come into our system, it does take a minute for us to kind of flush them out. It isn't always like that. It's not really like that with a flare, okay? Because we're talking about X-ray there. Now, we can look at the X-ray down here. This is the D region absorption prediction model, and it'll say X-ray flux and background X-ray and all that. Now that right there is your radiation storm. You see that flip over like that? So if I back this up, this is a flare. It makes like a target, and it's always on the day side. What we've seen today when we had an X-flare with an eruption, and I'll go over that again here in just a second, but then it crossed over our magnetic field line, interplanetary magnetic field line to the sun, our connection to the sun, and our connection grabbed a bunch of the protons that were inside of that CME, and it shot it right back to our planet, even though this CME part's not going to hit us. Okay, it's all magnetics. It's being driven that way. So anyway, as you do that, now watch what happens right here. Okay. The pole areas they got ionized, right? So what you're looking at, and this is the path of least resistance. So I just want to say that too. It acts very much like water and electricity. It will find the path of least resistance, and that's where it will travel. That's why it comes in on our poles, because we know we're a big rock with like a big bar magnet for our magnetic field, up and down, right? North to south. Now, it's not like geographical, like the big barber pole. We're talking our magnetic field, and it has a tilt and everything else. And it's not in the same place that our geographic north and south are. It's different, okay? But it does come in on our poles easier, and that's what you're seeing here, okay? So hopefully I explained that well enough, and everybody can kind of understand that. So yeah. Now, let's do this. And something else I'll be talking about here in just a second is this thing. Look at that thing, guys. That is a monster sunspot, I have to say. And when I say monster sunspot, it's not meant for fear. It's just big. Extremely big. And I'll show you how big here in just a minute on the different image. So if you hang out here with me just for a minute, I'll be able to get through all this, and I'm going to stay on point and just get to this so you guys got a better understanding of what's happening right now. This is definitely a very active day. The sun's just erupting all over the place, okay? And much like this this sunspot right here, when it was on the backside, it helped produce those X14, the X11, and the X7 class flare on the backside. That the X14 was definitely the biggest flare to be recorded data-wise this sun cycle. Okay? And in many, many years. So, yeah, it wasn't facing us, so we didn't get hit with that. But now that sunspot and some of the other sunspots that were contributing to all of that are rotating in. Remember, the equatorial regions of the sun rotate faster than the poles. Okay, so that's why the sunspots start up here early on in the sun cycle, and they migrate towards the equator from south to north, north to south. Finally, they meet in the middle with the termination event, and the pole flips on the sun. We talk about the pole flip on Earth. Same thing's happening on the sun. Difference is the sun's not a rock. So the equatorial region is actually rotating faster. And that's what pulls it down towards each other. But roughly about every 11 years. And that's not an exact date either. They actually will wait now 2 to 3, usually like 2 to 3 months till they get all the data in. And they'll retro back what they think the start of the new sun cycle is. After they look at the data and analyze it. Okay? So that's how it's being done. Now, again, this is Earth scale. We'll go into that here in just a minute, a little bit more. But I want to count these off for you guys. Now, I already showed you where this satellite's at, right? It's 1 million miles closer to the sun from our point of view. This is a physical disk on the camera. Okay? Has to be there to block the main part of the light of the sun. If it's not there, the image gets completely overexposed and we don't get to see nothing but a white blur. Alright? So this in itself has caused anomalies to have us name CME certain ways, like halo CME, right? So when we see energy poking around the whole thing, we call that a halo CME. Now, the reason that's important is because we don't know if it's coming right at us or if it's going straight off the back. Okay? If it's going off the back, okay, no harm, no foul. If it's coming at us, just like if you're looking at a tornado in a field, if you don't see that thing moving left or right, and it looks like it's just staying in the same spot, let me assure you, it's not. It's either coming at you, or it's going to be going the opposite direction. And if it starts to grow on you, you better go somewhere. You better get out of that line of sight. So that's what I'm saying. And the same thing's true with these CMEs. That's what's happening here. So you guys get a better understanding of that. Now this is the surface of the sun. Okay, this white circle. So we got about an hour in time before we see a CME after it erupts to get past the occulter disk here. All right. Also, guys, if you ever look at stereo A, this the coronagraph on stereo A, it used to be 90 degrees from us, right here. Okay, it used to be way over here. Now it's hanging out about right here. So it's basically from our point of view now, because it's outlived its lifespan. I don't think they're sending it back out, but we're still using it. We're still getting data and stuff from it, but it's just in a different position. So we used to have a side view, and that was important to us because it helped us decide what direction these CMEs were going. Because if you got a side view, you know by looking at the side of the sun whether it's going off the back or the front, because you can see it. We can't see it now. Now we have to look at, rely on stuff like the solar orbiter, which is what caught the X14 flare on the backside. Now that's the European agency's satellite, so I don't have that one here to show you, but the data, we can still look at the data, and that satellite did get hit with that. Now, I'm going to assume it probably has some coronagraphs on that satellite, and probably some extreme ultraviolet filtered imagers too. I wouldn't see why they would send a satellite up there without having that nowadays. But I could be wrong, because what we got to see was the data. We seen the magnetic signature jump up to X14 level. Right, the X-rays. It hit that satellite. So, and remember, it goes out in all directions equally, X-rays do. That's why if that satellite's on the backside of the sun, it almost doesn't matter exactly where it's at because it's going to get hit with the same amount of X-ray. Because the X-ray is going out equally in all directions because it's light. Now, unless it's being acted upon by other forces, right? But typically that's not what's going on. So, anyway, so let's count these things down, guys. Let's count these eruptions. Let's get it back to the start here. Now remember, when we're looking at this, we're talking UTC time. That's universal time, and that's over in England. The whole world uses it. The scientific community uses it for that reason, so things are not confused when we talk about things like this. Like, say, if I'm talking about this, somebody over in Azerbaijan or Egypt or wherever can see my video, and they're going to know exactly what time frame it is because we're using UTC. If I was to use my local time, it would confuse people everywhere, and that's why we don't. Now, with that being said, if you live over here in the West, UTC, if you're on Eastern Standard Time, that puts you at a 4-hour difference, okay? So, what that means is if it's midnight UTC, it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard, okay? So, if you're in Central, Mountain, or West Coast, all the way out to Hawaii and Alaska time zones, you can adjust that way to kind of get an idea now. That's just a rule of thumb. That's what it is. We're 4 hours difference over here in the Eastern time zone. So, yeah. But, so, let's go ahead and back this up to the beginning. And I think it was, yeah, right there. Okay. So, we got one there, right? Now, that happened just a little bit before the day started. But I'm counting it as one. Okay. Because it's one right there. One. And let's go ahead and just click through here. See that right there? That's two. It started to pick it up right here. Okay? But do you see that signature right there? That's two. There's three. Okay? And that's moving faster than the one right in front of it. So basically that turned into a cannibal CME. That's a 3. There's 4. Five. And that, I know that doesn't look significant over here, but sometimes those can be. Because if it's a filament eruption, it's not going to erupt like a big fan or a big like ball. It's going to erupt kind of horizontal and look almost thin. Because those are thin ropes of plasma, or thick, that explode off the sun. So if that was a filament eruption, there you go. What number was that, guys? Was that 5? I think it was. Anyway, we'll go forward here. There's 6 on the left side. There's 7 right there. Here's this one. This is 8. This is the one that caused the radiation increase. We're connected to the sun over here on this side, okay? So anything that blows off over here, we do pay more attention because if it crosses our magnetic field line, interplanetary magnetic field line, any protons that are there that it can grab, it will. And that's what we're actually seeing that. Now, is it enough to get us into storm level? Not right at this second. It's not, but it's real close. Okay, and sometimes it'll hang around and bump up and down some. It really will. But anyway. There's 9. Okay? And look, guys, we're only at, what, 5 p.m. here? We might even have more than 10. I counted earlier. I thought I only counted 10. That's 9. There's 10. That's just an anomaly of the camera. It probably got some light that hit it. It couldn't handle the imager. So yeah, 10. I was correct. Alright? Now, there might be some more in there I missed. I don't know. It's a bunch. Okay? So, I definitely showed you 10 of them right there. Now, let's go look at it on SDO. Right? Because we'll be able to see the flashes and things there. Now, let's take it here. Now, I do want to show you guys where the satellite's at. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time explaining where it's at. But it's in geosynchronistic orbit. It stays over this same part of our planet at all times. One of the main reasons is so it can relay its data back to White Sands at all times. So we get close to real-time data from this thing. Okay? But it always rotates itself, and you can see that doing it here, and here, and here, to keep its eye on the sun. See this yellow over here? That's its eye. With that being said, because of everything, the dynamics and everything, the way things are moving, we do get 2 eclipse seasons each year. And what happens is the Earth passes between the satellite and the sun. It eclipses the satellite. So we do miss some images there, but it's not that many. Okay? And the moon will cross over it sometimes, and it'll even stop and go the other way. I explained that in my previous video. So if you want to know that, go back and watch that previous video, because I do talk about that and why. But yeah, so that's the point of view we're looking at. Now, let me do this real quick. So this is the 304. And why I talk about this, guys, why don't you guys give me a roll call in there if you would. I'd like to see where you guys are from. I love seeing that. I could go look at my analytics, but it's not the same. Just regional, if you could. And remember, guys, members only, please make sure you guys got your notifications turned on. Because I am doing a members only tomorrow, no matter what. I was going to do it today, but all this was going on, so I figured I would stick to this today. But things are slowing down for me, so I'll be able to be here and be able to schedule that stuff a little bit more concrete, okay? But as you're looking at 304 here, I'm showing you this because of the filaments. Okay, you see the dark plasma filaments kind of laying here. Now, I'm not sure if you guys seen that one right there in the middle. There was a little stealthy little thing just kind of whipping back and forth right here that I do think is probably going to hit us. It looked like it lifted off, but it wasn't very powerful. Now, if you can see right there, okay, it's going to be hard for you guys to see this. It's kind of right there. You see things are kind of moving. And it did erupt, but I'm not sure how much of it actually left. Now you can see other areas erupting, causing multiple canyons of fire on the sun. You can see the plasma. Look at that one. Do you see that one just shoot off that shadow? Then you got one up here, one down here, one over here. I mean, they're just happening everywhere. So, and you know, we talked earlier about sympathetic sunspots. They're sunspots that basically communicate with one another. And because of that, they will erupt either at the exact same time or very close to one another. A lot of times with the communicating sunspots, you'll get one that erupts and it will instigate the one it's communicating with to erupt also. But today, remember I said I've been observing the sun now for a long time. And you know, it's just an observation I made, and I don't know if there's any science behind this or not. But when we see big eruptions, a lot of times we will see another similar eruption, typically a little bit smaller, 180 degrees roughly, shooting off the other side. So, with that being said, you know, that's why we pay attention, no matter where things are erupting. What's up, humans? Not human. There you go. Let's see. What's up, Mist? Where y'all from here? I'm trying to find out here. Oklahoma, northern Oklahoma. What's up, Bill? Thanks for being here. Pray for your area. It works. Yes, it does, Joni. 100%. That's me. That's what I believe also. Medford, Oregon. Awesome. Hey, aloha, Kathy. One of my favorite moderators. Hey, Genius, good to see you. Oh, really? Wow. Well, we'll be praying for you, Genius. Okay? That's horrible. Hey, I hope everything works out there. That's okay, Aaliyah. Appreciate you, girl. I really do. I did get a chance to look at that link. I'm not going to be able to talk about it right now, but tomorrow I will. I'll have more time. And I want to give it its due time. And thank you for sending that to me because it's really good information. It truly is. She sent me a link, guys, talking about how all this stuff with the sun and things affects us biologically. And it does. It truly does. So, thank you for that, girl. Appreciate you. Where else is Central North Dakota, Philadelphia. Back at you, Kathy. What's up, Carl? Good to see you from Spokane. Hey, I was watching Good Mythical Morning, guys. I'm not sure if you guys watched that show, but they were trying to figure out. They challenged each other to do name all the states and their capitals, and they really sucked at it. And and I would tend to think that the majority of everybody nowadays sucks at that. I remember we couldn't even go on to like the 4th grade until we could actually just do that. Tell everybody the states and their capitals. Well, they used to teach us cursive writing too, but that's gone in the wind too. Makes me sick. But anyway, so let's go look at a different angstrom, guys. We don't see a very whole lot of our light spectrum, okay? So I just showed you the 304 wavelength, okay? And we look at that because we see ionized helium, and it's a gas, specific gas, and it gave us a certain visual we just looked at, right? Well, this is the 94 angstrom. This one has a really good ability to show us where the brightness of the flash is from flares and CMEs, okay? But check these out. I mean, it's yeah. So that was one of the X flares there. You can just see it. It's just erupting everywhere, right? You see it erupting right here in the middle. This is called the Earth Strike Zone. Anything that happens there definitely has a really good chance of hitting Earth. There is a lot of smaller storms, solar storms, getting erupted off the sun today. I'm having a hard time thinking that none of that's going to hit us here in the next 3 or 4 days. I do think that it probably will. Is it going to push us up in the storm level? That's yet to be seen. That's why I nowcast and don't forecast, because there's people and models and doctors and everything else that are way better at that than I ever could be. So, yeah, we'll let them stick to the forecast. I'll show you guys what's going on and maybe try to tell you what I think is going to happen for the next day or so. I'm not going to try to give you a farmer's almanac every time I talk to you. Okay? I mean, that's pretty much what some people do. And believe it or not, sometimes they're really good at it. But yeah. So you guys can see all these guys. This is not going to slow down. Things are going to continue like this probably for months. All right? They might not be this intense, but we're going to have eruptions every day. Multiple, most likely. But right now, you can see how the line of the sunspots is growing closer. So I want you guys to see that image, because watch this one over here. Okay? Watch right there. Look at that one. Okay? That one was going off this direction. If that had happened right here, which this sunspot will be right here in about 2 to 3 days. So do you see what I'm talking about here? And by the way, let's get some ones in the chat there for Genius by Birth and what she's search party type of thing. Let's get some prayers and good thoughts and stuff there, if you would, please. Throw some ones in there for her. And Genius, I appreciate everything you do here. I really, truly do. My wife says thank you. It's, yeah, all the gifted memberships and stuff you've gifted. There's a lot of people on here that are very grateful for you also because of that. Not to mention you're just a good person. And thank you for being such a good support over on Marfugal also. I see you over there constantly. It's, yeah, you're a very, very good pillar in this community. I just want you to know that. And so is everybody listening to me, okay? You guys continue to come back and listen to some hillbilly talk about space weather, right? And thank you for not judging me on all of that. Now, I know some people do, but that's okay. I got thick skin. Throw it at me. But yeah, I do take criticism well, and I will try to change when I'm asked to, because it's bothering people. I talked to a good friend of mine today about my YouTube stuff, and he gave me some really good advice. And I'm not sure if you noticed how I started the show tonight. I'm going to do that from now on because, number one, everybody likes it better. Number two, it's just better overall. Okay? So if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, go back and watch the first 30 seconds to a minute of my show, and you'll see the difference of how I started my show out. I'm going to continue to do that. So anyway, and thank you to that friend. Appreciate you. Much love, brother. Much love. Okay, so I do want to show you this big monster sunspot. Okay. That is one thing that'll always happen here, guys. If I put it in my thumbnail, I'm going to talk about it in the video. Okay? I'm not going to give you no clickbait, anything like that. So just understand that. So this is a monster sunspot. It truly is. This is a huge sunspot. Does it make it powerful? No. Is it powerful? Yes. We've already had X flares from this thing today. This one X flared, and then the one on the other side X flared. Okay? This is the size of the Earth. You can fit about 4 or 5 up and down and sideways. If you were to try to fill this in, you're probably looking at, oh, I don't know, 10 or 11 Earths in there. You know, compared to this one, 2 to 3. Same thing down here. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys kind of get a better idea, you know, visually here of the size of things. It's important to understand the perspective. Guys, I know I'm talking like Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know, everything's true from a certain point of view, right? Ain't that what he told Luke when he's asking about his father? Being Darth Vader. Sorry, I'm a Star Wars geek, so I use those kind of analogies. But it's true. Okay? So just remember that. When we're talking about everything's about perspective. Things we see moving across our sky has everything to do with where you're standing at on our planet. Our perspective. Things move a certain way depending on what latitude you're on. There's a reason we get 24 hours of daylight during certain times of year on the North and South Pole. And vice versa. The other season, we get it 24 hours of darkness. Right? The stuff up there ain't moving. We're the ones moving. We're rotating around our axis, guys. So keep that in mind also. Stuff up there is moving, but not to the extent that we are. That's going to affect how we view things from our perspective. Okay? So, with that being said, let me move on here. This is the magnetic magnetopause. Okay? Sun's off to the left. This is just velocity. This is trying to represent our first point of contact, our magnetic field with space weather. Okay? Usually solar wind and CMEs. Okay? We'll get cosmic rays and things like that that'll sneak in from, you know, especially during solar minimum. It takes a little bit of activity, geomagnetic activity from the sun to protect us from that stuff. Okay? So we want a balance is what we're trying to achieve. Not that we have any control over it, but that's what we want to see, I guess, is a better way to say that. So you got density here, and it's moving from left to right, right? The darker blues are more dense, the lighter are the less dense. And there's not a whole lot at this second. Now, if I was to show you this same image about 12 to 14 hours ago, I would be saying something different because we were getting hit. Okay? How do I know that? Well, right here. Back here is when the BZ went to -6 a little bit before that, right there. And everything was moving. We took a big shot of dense particles, and they were moving not at breakneck speed, but a little elevated. And that caused us to go into G3 storm level. Okay? Completely unforecasted, I have to say. They forecasted a CME, but they got the strength way wrong there. They were talking about a G1, and it just didn't pan out like that. Okay? Now, this is a geoelectric field model. It's our electrical field at the surface. This model is trying to show us space weather's effect on unnatural electrical components. So when I say that, we're talking about wall switches, wires, all the above, right? So, yeah. Now, let's let's see here. Okay, now let's go here. Hey, Ilea and Rip or anybody else that's in there. I don't have my Telegram mod chat pulled up. So I can't see anything if you're trying to send me anything. Just so you know. I was trying to pull it up and I hit the wrong button on my phone. I'm gonna have to go in there and reset it. So anyway, just so you guys know that. Okay, so anyway, that geoelectric field is trying to show us the effects of that on unnatural electrical components. For what reason, right? People ask me that all the time too. Well, they're trying to bridge a gap between forecasting earthquakes and space weather. Right? Now, we know there's a bunch of people out there that try to forecast earthquakes. Some of them get really close, some of them are dead on, some of them are way out in left field. Right? I can't even point you to the ones that are the best. Obviously, I know the bigger names, but you don't have to have a big name to know what you're talking about. Okay? I just want to say that first and foremost. Also, if you've got a big name, it doesn't mean that you don't know what you're talking about either. Okay? So there is no line there for me. I listen to everybody. But when it comes to earthquakes and stuff, I usually send you guys over to Ron at Emergency Management Associates. He does a really good job. He's always there. He's on it every day. He's a good dude. He just really is a good man and very pleasant to be around. So I'm not going to send you to a jerk, and he really does give you some good information. Okay? But for me, I can't forecast earthquakes to save my life at all. So I wouldn't even try to do that. I don't have the knowledge base, but that's why they're using this, okay? Because we know that space weather increases seismic activity. Okay? And also something else here with the sun, guys. They're using a new technique now. Well, it's not really so new anymore. I guess it's a little over a year or two old, I think. But they're using seismic activity on the sun to map out what the backside of the sun looks like. And they've gotten really good at it. It's amazing to me. They don't even have to look at it. They can just see what kind of seismic activity is happening and the effects of that. And they're able to show us how big sunspots are, where they're placed. How do we know it's accurate? Well, we've seen the ones come that rotate in were exactly what they thought it was before it rotated in. So they've proven itself, right? Is it going to be 100% accurate? No. Okay, I'm not trying to say that. All I'm trying to say is it's accurate enough to give us at least some sort of idea what the back of the sun looks like. And I think it's a really cool thing. So, anyway. Okay. So, yeah. Now, so I'm going to go to the chat here, guys. You guys got any questions, fire them at me, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and pop off because I want you guys to be able to go catch Marfugel too tonight. But yeah, hey, Pam B. That's my neighbor right there. Heck yeah. Seriously, any question you guys got, I'll try to answer it the best I can. And, yeah. So if you guys want to do that, you can. And again, guys, I have to say thank you again for any of the gifted memberships and the super stickers from the last live stream. Or any, if you guys did it tonight, I didn't even look at the chat. I do apologize. The only time I looked at the chat was when I was getting a roll call. So if you guys did, or if you did, I'm not trying to say you, no. What I'm saying is, if you did and I didn't say thank you, I apologize. I didn't see it. So, anyway. See Here Think, good to see you. Well, thank you, See Here Think. Appreciate you. Guys, I did add that extension there so you guys can kind of see when I'm speaking to a specific comment. I'll highlight it. I get 2 days warning from, okay, I got what you're saying. Hey, Monk, good to see you. Ocular migraines, those hurt, I have to say. Those are eye aches is what my mom used to call them. Hey, Kim Postle, good to see you. Hey, cul-de-sac. Rare breed, you sick or something? I hear people in here. Well, if you are, I hope that hope you get to feel better. Yeah, migraines suck. There's no other word to even say it. I like that comment, Digital Revolution. That's a good one right there. Vampires hate these solar flares. Yeah, they might want to put on a little extra sunscreen, right? I love it. Hey, Kim Possible put a skate in her name there. Yeah, Pam, I don't doubt that for sure. I don't doubt that for sure. Yeah, guys. See here, let's see, what did it say? Brandon Morse, largest flare that's happened so far from Sunspot. The one you're talking about just today, Brandon. If you're talking about just today, it is from the one over here that's now rotated off. Okay. Um, that was a X2, I think, an X2 something, and it produced a significant enough CME that we caught a radiation storm from it, or a real close to the storm level. We got a good shot of radiation from it, basically. Thank you, Nana. I appreciate that, Nana Deborah. I really do. I need to hear that sometimes, guys. You know, I just told you guys I got thicker skin than I used to, but it doesn't make me not human. So when people say bad things about me to me or whatever, I'd be lying to you if I said it didn't affect me, because it does. It's ridiculous not to say that it doesn't. People just want to, act like that stuff doesn't bother them at all. That's not the truth. They might need to tell everybody that just to get through it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if they're being honest with themselves, I promise you, yeah, it bothers them a little bit. Also, guys, we need some prayers for Jammer 1. I'm not going to go into details on what's going on in his life right now, but I'm not sure if he wants that stuff out there. But just pray for Jammer, if you would. He is such a great guy, and he's going through just a rough thing right now. Yeah, it almost gets me emotional. He's such a good dude, and he's going through some really hard stuff. I view those guys like they're my brother. I really, truly do. And when they hurt, I hurt, and I hate it. So, only thing we can do, especially when we live so far away from each other, is to pray and sing good thoughts and all that kind of good thing, right? And if there is a way to help, and they tell us there is a way, then, we try to make that happen. But most of the time, nah. KP is 7 or KP is 9, so I can see Aurora in northeast Pennsylvania. Joan, that's a good comment, but I can't tell you exactly how far our KP will get up if we get hit by a CME. The flare is already hit, right? The flare part and any kind of radio blackout from those X flares is already done. But one thing that isn't done, and let me show you, is the radiation part of it. Still hanging around on our poles. Okay? But if there's CMEs that are headed our way, and it looks like we might have a couple, but I can't tell you how strong they are. There's just so many of them. So many eruptions. But regardless, we pay attention, right? But I can't say for certain. That's kind of the short and skinny of that. I will say this. I've noticed that it doesn't seem to take as much of a solar storm as it used to give us a decent amount of aurora. There's a whole lot of theories out there for why. Obviously, the magnetic field weakening is one of them. And there's multiple other things out there that we could talk about, right? Is the sun getting stronger? Is this, that, and the third happening? Whatever. But yeah. You're right, Peaceful Garden. They can be very, very rude. But let me tell you something. I'd rather them attack me than attack you guys. So let me take that, okay? Anytime you see that in my chat, thank you. You guys usually almost always come to my defense. And that is what it is. But I do appreciate it. But please don't do that if you can't, if you have to. Yeah, I don't want them like turning their attention on you just because you're trying to take up for me. Okay? Most of the time I do. I just let the stuff roll right off my back. There is a saying here on YouTube, especially amongst creators, if you don't feed a troll, what happens to them? They starve to death. What's the main goal of a troll? Think about that. They want the attention. They want the attention pulled over to them so whoever's talking don't get any of the attention. That's what it is. So if you don't give them what they're wanting, they're hurting themselves. So, let me tell you something. I'm human just like anybody else, like I said a minute ago. So there are times that I have stepped out of that and didn't follow my own rule and defended myself. And when I defend myself, you guys will know it because it's not something I typically will address during the live stream or whatever. But if I do it in such a way that they will use their own words to destroy what they're saying to me. I do it every time. It's easy to do. I promise. It's easy to do. You just got to know when to not say certain things and when to say certain other ones. And the biggest thing is, believe it or not, is to not get rude with them. They make themselves look like, yeah, just disgusting people. Hey, Nita, good to see you. Yeah, hit that thumbs up, guys. And please come back to the video after it's published and, after we're done here, and leave me a comment. I don't care if it's an emoji or any of that. It's just something, right? And also, I put end cards at the end of my videos. Try to point some people to click on those too. Those are my older videos or videos that I've already made. YouTube recommends what they want to recommend on one of them. The other one I kind of get a pick, but that's right, Peaceful Garden. And guys, I tell you what I can do. Okay, let me stop that. Let's do that real quick. I tell you what I can do because I do want to show you this real quick. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to put a link in the. Also, guys, before I do that, please check out Matthew's channel. This man has got the best graphics. I'm going to show it to you. I'm a mod over there. It's a 24-hour live feed. Look at this. Deep Quake 9's over there. Yeah, a lot of people that come here are there also. But this thing will cycle through, and he's got these little astronauts running around. It's pretty cool. It's a 24-hour feed. This is all 8K stuff, guys. Matthew's an awesome dude, military, just an upstanding cat, man. I mean, he really is. He hangs out over at Dr. Tamitha Sco's channel too. So, guys, go check her out too. I shout her out every chance I get because, yeah, it's free college. You just don't even have to say anything after that. It is. It's free college spoken to you in a way that she's not talking down to you, but she's also not talking over your head. You can understand her. That's what's important to me. So, anyway, well, here's her channel. She's a space weather woman. I've shown you guys her channel before. She's in my awesome channel list. Okay? She did a video the other day. Because I put it in my community post. I had a tornado warning while I was live. So when I went downstairs, I made a community post and sent you over here to her channel because, I mean, she was already hitting it already. So, yeah. So, come over here and check it out. She's been on the Weather Channel and everything else, guys. She's really cool. Really cool. Really knows what she's talking about, obviously. She's a doctor. Space Weather Broadcasting is what she's doing at Millersville University. I don't know if there's any other college around that does that anyway. So, it's just impressive to me. And Matthew hangs out there, and it's a really cool channel, and she's a really good person. And knows what she's talking about. So, at least in my opinion. A lot of people's opinion, I would say. But, to all my members out there, this is the channel I'm going to be showing you guys some videos on my members only stream. Okay? These are live Zoom court hearings that these guys record. Okay? And then they react to them or they'll play them and explain what's going on. some of the family law court is really interesting. It's, you know, parents kind of battling it out a little bit for their kids, and some of the ridiculous stuff that people do. I just think it would be interesting for all of us members to get together and talk about a few of these videos. But if you could, go over here and show Jessica some love. Tell her you're from Wages World, and just drop a comment and subscribe to her. Okay? I tell you what I can do. Let's go ahead and, well, let's just do it this way. I'll pause it, and then I'll hit share. I'll copy this link right here. And then I will go back to my chat. Oop, that ain't it. Okay, this is it right here. Okay, there it is. So, paste it there. So there, that's Jessica's link to that video right there. But go over and sub up to her channel. It's really cool. Would this solar activity cause hotter than usual heat in Anchorage, Alaska? We hit well over 80 degrees, but then it clouded over and held heat in. You know, Brad, probably not. Not like what you would like think it would. I will say this. It intensifies hurricanes. Every time a solar flare happens right over top of a hurricane, you can see it intensify within hours. That is a fact. You can see it. There is no denying that. Now, how much it affects it, you know, I can't really say. But as far as it affecting just directly, just from a few eruptions, I wouldn't think so. You know, it would take a lot of charged particles in our atmosphere to make a dense enough particle blanket to make it like really hot that can't escape. Okay? So, and chances are, if they're that highly charged and it's that dense, when it hits our magnetic field, it's going to flush out the back anyway. So, there's a whole lot of stuff there to unpack. But, yeah, just kind of rule of thumb, probably, you know, you're not going to notice it like that. I'm not saying it can't, but, yeah. Now, what I will say, our ocean highways, our currents, like the Gulf Stream water, those things are starting to change, in case you guys didn't know that. They're slowing down. Some of them are stopping and going the other direction. If you guys didn't know this, London and Moscow are on the same latitude line. Did you guys know that? If you didn't know that, now you do. Why is that? Why am I even talking about that? Moscow gets horrendous winters. London does not. So if you think about what I just said, they're just as far north as Moscow. They should be getting similar conditions. The reason they don't is because of the Gulf Stream water. That water goes all the way up there and makes a big, large circle. Okay? So you got rising and sinking water because of heat and salinity. The salt content matters big time. So if the glaciers have melted because it got hot, it adds water. And in some cases, salt, that kind of thing. But yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly, Deepquake. Hey, you're on point, man. The jet stream is what would cause something like what you're talking about there. Let me put that comment up in here. Brad, yeah, what Deepquake just said, the jet stream would be more so affected. If it was affected, then I could see maybe that happening. But yeah, and it can, 100%. Good to see you, Paul. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for all the recently gifted memberships and stuff, man. I mean, you're just you're an amazing dude, man. So I'll just say it like that. So thank you. But yeah, so Moscow gets way harder winters than London, and that's why our Gulf Stream waters are changing. And that's not good when that stuff starts happening, because it will change climate. And I could go into more detail. I did on a few videos a long time ago. But, yeah. You're the man. You are, boss. I'm not kidding you. I mean, and hey, Trish, good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. But, yeah. So, guys, and, hey, Ron. I'm not sure if he's in here still. Say hi to him. Hey, Jerry, good to see you. Yeah, you're right. 100. Yeah, for sure. Sinkholes happened today? Really? Southern Illinois? Yeah, that can point to that for sure. Yeah. Good night, Christine. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, guys. I don't want to keep you guys here much longer. I know Mark Fugel's getting ready to go live here in just a few minutes. And remember, guys, our brother Jammer, he's having a bad time right now, okay? So let's just give him some love, throwing some prayers. I'm not going to go into detail what's going on or even talk about what's going on with him. That's for him to do, not me. And but just know that he needs prayers and good thoughts, and I'm sure he would appreciate it, okay? So let's get some ones in that chat, or some praying hands, something. Okay? And it's just show him what's up here. But, guys, please come over here to Jessica's channel and go down the comment section and say, hey, Wages World is mentioning you. You know, we're going to subscribe. We're going to check out some of your videos. That'd be doing me a solid there if you would. You know, guys, if we can grow the channel by doing cross-genre. Okay? What that means, I can step out of my genre and kind of talk to people that some of the content I enjoy watching, and if they're willing to, we can kind of talk with each other and show our audience their content. I'm not going to show you something I don't like, okay? So just remember that. I mean, it's not going to be like that. What I'm saying is, it's just going to be, hey, I like this content, I'm going to show it to you. And if we did that, I'm telling you, all of our channels would grow. So, anyway. Alright, guys, I am going to pop off. So, and again, guys, I hope you guys liked the new way I did the intro. I told you guys what was going to happen, and then I, did the little 20-second intro, and then we talked about everything. I'm trying to stay more on point, and that did come from, one of my internet brothers. His advice, and it's great advice, and I'll get better at it. So hopefully it'll help us all grow here. And tomorrow, members only stream, we're going to be watching a couple of Jessica's videos, so please come over and enjoy that with us, okay? If you guys are members, get that bell clicked. If you're not members, get that bell clicked. Hit the like button, come back, leave a comment, right? So I'm doing setting all the YouTube things again. Yeah. Anyway, so, and if you would, go over to Mark Fugel here, when they go live. I'll see you guys over there in the chat. And Jammer, we love you, brother. We're praying for you, okay? If you can hear me, I'm not sure where you're at right now, but we love you. Alright, guys. God bless. Yahusha saves, and as always, thank you, Enlightened Truth Seeker. Appreciate that. You can drink this Kool-Aid. You know what? I think I am going to get some Kool-Aid. Matter of fact, I got some Kool-Aid right here in this cup. I'm going to drink it here in a minute. Alright, guys. God bless.